All right, welcome back to It's Time Picks. We have a huge card on tap. UFC 284, Makhachev versus Volkanovski. This is going to be an amazing card. It's in Volkanovski's wheelhouse. There's a lot of Australians fighting on this card. Makhachev is obviously just a beast that's been completely unleashed on the division. He now holds the title. Volkanovski's going for that second belt. Joey, how you feeling about it?
I'm very excited. I think, there's people are saying, oh, the card doesn't look the best, which on paper, I think it's about like maybe name wise, it's probably about like a 7.5. But like, I said the same thing about the Chinese card from last card, and that card as a whole is actually pretty damn good. So
Yeah,
I
I
think there's
actually
some
really
good
like that.
action on this card.
All right. Well, to start off, let's see. I went 8-2-1 last week. You went 6-4-1. I have now passed you. I am 2 games up on you at 27-9-1. Um, Kicking right off into this, we got Zubara Tukugov and Elvis Brenner. It took me a little bit of digging to kind of figure out what Brenner's game style was, and it's because he's still deep
Mm-hmm.
in the Brazilian pool. He trains and hangs out with Charles Oliveira quite often. So he does have that going for him. But you and I talk about this shit all the time. There is levels to this game. And Brenner is nowhere near the level of Tukugov. That is why he's 9,600 on DraftKings. He is one of the safest plays on the card. I don't see any way that Brenner can win this fight.
So the only thing I'll say about this, yes, he does train with Bronx Oliveira, but one thing I'll say, he has 12 victories, no,
So
total
there are 11
13.
of them are submissions.
11 by sub, 8 by first round. He has eight
Yeah.
total finishes in round one. But if he doesn't catch it, he's pretty much gonna be a sub or bust in round one. He's gonna have to go in there. Okay, but we're both gonna be dry, and maybe I gotta try to get him to get aggressive. He can shoot an ugly shot, and maybe I can get something off a dry limb. That's his only
But
Hail Mary
everybody
chance.
he's fought him, he hasn't fought anybody.
Yes.
He's not so he's
I think he's
42nd.
taking it on short notice. I think I could be wrong, but I think it's a
Yes,
short notice fight.
that is correct.
Okay.
But he's also, I think, like the 42nd ranked Brazilian
Mm-hmm.
fighter. That's not the world fighter.
No.
So I mean, this he's it's just it's not even close.
And actually wrote written down. We had all 8 subs in round one, 6 by armbar, 1 by rear naked, and 1 by guillotine. All in
Yeah,
round one.
you're not going to get Takugov in an arm bar. So the only
No.
way
Only way he
he
does that is if he shoots an ugly blast double and somehow you get a limb.
yes.
But I think, this is took it off easily. I think it is an easy win for him. And honestly, the only thing I'll say is he does not fight like a 9,600 fighter usually. And I looked at, tags and everything. He's a minus 550. He doesn't fight like a minus 550.
Yeah,
But
he's not gonna. I don't see a way he pays off 9,600.
no,
Just too difficult.
I think there's a chance, as I said about another teammate of Oliveira when he fought Marcos, levels in the striking game. Zukov is the way better striker. He can,
Hmm.
I think, he can even get a finish. He only has 2 finishes in the UFC, but he might be able to get a second round finish maybe because I think round one he's gonna try to stay away from the ground game, use his range, and I think it wouldn't shock me if a late round two or early round three TKO he gets eventually. But yeah, he's safe for cash. GPP, I'm not getting to it. I like other fighters below that range. So, but yeah, I think he's. I don't even like him in par. You could say he's a parlay piece. He's pretty safe to win. But DraftKings, I'm not touching.
No, I agree. Both of us going with Tukugov. It's relatively easy first pick. Next fight. I'm really excited for this one with Shane Young and Blake Builder. I don't know how much you know about Builder, but holy
I know
crap,
about him.
the
I know
kid
about
is
him.
a freaking animal.
I know about him.
Shane Young is fighting with with his Australian, guys, and he does have that on his side going for him. That said, if this fight leaves the feet, he's done.
Oh yeah.
Shane Young has a slight advantage on the feet. He is going to be the better striker with more power. But Builder, man, he is nasty on the mat. And I think he is going to put immediate pressure on and get this to the mat and then eventually submit him. But at the same time, going in and shooting, right off the bat, he could eat a counter shot and lay flat. Do I
Yep.
think it happens? No. Can it happen? This is MMA. Anything can fucking happen.
Mm-hmm. So the thing about this fight is Shane Young is the better fighter. Not better fighter, better striker per se, but he's gonna use his range. I know he has a 4-inch reach. So he's gonna try to use his nice little kicks to mix in. Builder doesn't look like he has the best overall wrestling, but it's more like, okay, once I get a hold of your body and I drag you to the ground, he's pretty damn dangerous on the ground. Like Shane Young's never been finished by sub. But one thing I could see happening is like either if Young gets him out early, he does have 8 wins within the first round by finish. So if he catches Builder coming in sloppy, but I think this is a Builder win. If he gets anywhere on the neck early, I think it's over early. But it wouldn't shock me if I see this fight go possibly to a decision. Because I think there's going to be times where both fighters are going to have their chance. I think Young's going to use his range, work his 1-2s. Because Builder's guard is down a little bit, and he tries to throw his overhand to try to connect. And Young does have decent footwork. My lean is Builder. Decent value at 79, because if he is going to win this fight, he can either do it by submission, which he does have 3 wins by sub in round 1. And even decisions. I think he can even point well in a decision at 7,900. So I'll say my pick is Builder, but I'm going to try to work around my lineup and I'm going to see how I feel because I do see some hungry dogs barking on this card to an extent. So you're going to have to connect the right ones. But
Absolutely.
I think Builder is pretty much is going to be like I said, it's the preferred play. Shane Young's going to be like who's the one that just fought Warrior Alves? The one that
man.
neither one of us played him.
Yeah.
It was Nicholas Dalby.
Yes.
And it's second, I'm like, if Dalby's gonna win, is gonna be a decision. And then of course, what he do? He scored over 90 in the decision.
Yep.
It could be something sneaky with that with Young, depending if he gets his volume going and stops takedowns. Could be like a low 90-point decision, possibly, because he does throw volume. But if it's Builder working in takedowns, 7,900, that's still a good little price you could play.
Absolutely.
But my pick is Builder.
All right, both of us going with Blake Builder. And we move on to one of the more boring fights on the card. Nothing against the fighters, but Loma Lookboonmee and Elise Reed. I guess I'm not going to say boring. Elise Reed does tend to make some fights relatively entertaining. That is one thing I will say about her. But I expect this to primarily take place on the feet. And I don't see too many takedowns. There's probably going to be 1 or 2 because both of them will attempt one, I'm sure. That said, this will likely go to a decision, and Loma will likely have it nearly 2 times the amount of volume that Elise Reed has. And that's probably what's going to sway the judges.
I'm also on Lookboonmee. I think she's the more well-rounded fighter. I actually saw something in an interview that she said that she finally feels that she's able to finally let her demons in her past that kind of slowed her down through the fights. I'm getting a feeling that, with that being said, this could be one of the better breakout fights for her. Like, at least Reed is the more, athletic striker, moves her hands low and high, uses her range a little bit, but Lookboonmee is the more well-rounded. She hits harder. I'm not saying she has knockout power per se, but she does hit harder. But when she gets into clinch, she throws a shitload of clinch work. She has improved in fights where she showed improving takedowns and control time. My pick is Lookboonmee. She might be a sneaky GPP play because I think there's a chance she comes out and actually puts it on Elise Reed. And
The
I think
problem is at
takedown
9,000, she'll still have
9,000
to hit
scares me.
a
9,000 does
lot.
scare me. But I think she wins. If you depends on how many lineups you do. If you want like a low owned dart, you might be able to get her under
Probably under
10%.
15%.
Yeah. I'm actually gonna play a prop. I may play Luke Boomy by finish and a bet to see what odds would be. But I think, look, at least Reed's 2 losses. She's been TKO'd. One in round one and one in round three.
I know, and one was by Sam Hughes. I called that one, by the way.
Yes, you did.
I've called all of Sam Hughes' fights. Great. Sam,
And
hi.
Luke Boomy is better than Sam Hughes. Sorry, Sam Hughes. I still love you though. You're a warrior.
She is a warrior. All right. Both
But
of us going
DraftKings
with
at the moment, I'm not touching either or. So
yeah.
but it wouldn't shock me if Luke Boomy has one of the better performances on her career so far.
I can agree with that. All right. Both of us going with Loma, look me. And on to the next card, this or next fight with what's his first name? I can't remember. Jack Jenkins and Don Shanis. Who you got, man?
So I'm on the Jack Jenkins side. But one thing I will say this, I'm gonna give credit to Don Shamus took that fight with Yusuf Salal very early. And one thing I don't get, and I know of Don Shamus, he's more of a brawler. He'll mix it in once in a while, but I don't know why. He hit Salal and thinks, you know what? I'm gonna shoot a blast. That's not part of his game usually. And what happened? He got submitted in 30 seconds and gave Salal his first submission win.
Yep.
But he took that fight on extremely short notice. Now this is a full camp. But, he's traveling to Jack Jenkins' country. Jenkins does train with Volkanovski some. I'll say this right now. I'm not too overly impressed with Jenkins. He is the better, well-rounded guy. He's the better fighter. But I'm not too impressed with him. I think he should still eventually get a finish. But I'm not saying, I don't know. I want to see him go against a legit guy because, yes, he throws simple ones. He doesn't throw in his 3 combos when he tries to boom, 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 boom. But I think he is the more well-rounded guy. I think Sheamus does hit harder. I'll be right. He does hit harder. And, that could always crash the day for somebody. And I know Sheamus actually has 8 first-round wins. Well, actually, like I said, if I'm looking back and forth because I'm looking at the note, 8 first-round wins. 6 by TKO, 2 by sub. So he's going to be dangerous early. That's what I'm thinking. He's going to come in early. He's going to try to get overextend. I have a feeling Jenkins could catch him with a mean counter. And then he might get that first round win. At 9,300, I'm probably going to play it. I think there's going to be a finish early. Because Don does come in aggressively hot early. So my pick is Sheamus. Not Sheamus, Jenkins. Oh, good Lord Jesus. No, I'm not touching that 6,900. I think the line is fine. I saw the line. Jenkins is a minus 350. He's coming to his debut. Yeah, I thought I originally had it around 275, was I guess a little bit closest, but I think Jenkins at 9,300 is a nice play. If you don't want to get to it, if you think it's out of the over 1.5 range, which it might, if Jenkins does get control time, but I'm thinking Jenkins gets it done under 1.5.
All right. Well, we're
so
both
I think at 9,300, I think that's a good play.
We're both on Jenkins, but I disagree slightly with the line. I think Jenkins should be closer to just a minus 200 or 2-1 favorite. Sheamus, like you said, he had that short notice debut, and Sheamus really isn't that horrible of a fighter. He's being disrespected because of that fight, and a lot of people forget that he did take it on short notice and against a fighter who's not bad by any means. Sheamus does have a path to victory. He could score a knockout, and he could entirely smash the slate wide open at 6,900.
Oh yeah, he's not a bad GPP play. That's all. I'll definitely say that.
Not by any means. Jenkins is the better fighter, like you said. He does have probably the better training partners as well. He will have the crowd behind him, but he does need to watch his chin, and because that's all it's going to take is one flush shot, and Sheamus could destroy this whole card.
The only thing I'll say about Jenkins, he did show in the Contender Series fight, he did show some more well-roundedness. Dana was like, okay, I heard this guy's a dangerous striker, but he was mixing it up with kicks, takedowns, control. And then Dana originally said, well, I heard this and I wasn't too impressed, but you know what? I'm still going to sign you and you're coming in, blah, blah, blah. But
all right. So both of us going with Jack Jenkins. Next up, we have Jamie Malarkey and Francisco Prado. I'll let you take this one.
I'll say this right now. Malarkey is the more well-rounded guy. He came up as a wrestler grappler, and he's someone that fell in love with his striking. I'm not saying he has bad striking by any means, but he does leave himself hittable at times, and that's what scares me in this fight. Prado, he's a young 20-year-old kid traveling across the country to Australia, which, okay, that could be a little, nerve-wracking, but from what I saw from his opponents, none of his opponents were good. Not a single one. But one thing I will say, and there was times where I watched some of Prado's fights and I yelled, "Holy shit!" The kid has power at 20. He doesn't have that kid power. He has that grown man power at 20 when he hits. So if Malarkey, I think I told you this before, I think there's a chance that this fight could be very similar to who was it? RoboCop and Ferreira. RoboCop was the more rounded guy. He didn't use his grappling advantage, and eventually he got his shit caught bad. And Ferreira, I was on you, buddy. This could be another similar chance. Malarkey, when he's using his range, he's not too flat-footed, uses his range 1-2s. But when he gets in the pocket and gets stuck in exchanges, his hands go down and he becomes flat-footed. You don't want to be flat-footed with this kid. Kid has a 100% finish rate. I know he has some subs, but like I said, he's subbing pretty much a bunch of scrubs. But yeah, he looks more comfortable on the feet. Malarkey is a better well-rounded guy. So I'll say this. Malarkey, if you want to win, wrestle. Survive round one. If you see any open shots, shoot your blast doubles and wrestle this kid. At any point, you will get knocked the hell out. Wrestle. So, do I think he's going to wrestle? He hasn't wrestled too much, at least nowadays. But I had my dart throw on Ferreira. As it stands right now, I want to go Prado. Yes, he's going into enemy territory. He's making his debut. I just think Malarkey leaves himself too hittable. And he welcomes the fire exchanges. And look, he's in his backyard. I have a feeling he's going to get comfortable. He's going to lean and hit a clean 1-2. Oh, I'm going to strike. I'm going to strike. I'm going to get into a firefight. And I think he could potentially get flatlined. Bad. I'm talking about face down flatline. If you stand in the pocket with this kid for too long. So my pick, one of the bigger dogs on the card at plus 225. I'm going Prado.
Well, that makes two of us because I am also on Francisco. And for all the same reasons, the only thing that I do worry about is after the first round. I have no idea how his cardio is going to look, and that is a major question mark. We could see Malarkey just clinch him up and tire him out and then take over in 2 and 3. That said, the reason I am also on Prado, Malarkey just leaves his shit open too much. Mm-hmm. Michael Johnson dropped him in his last fight.
And I had Malarkey losing that fight.
Nothing against Michael Johnson or anything, but his power is average. We'll say that. And this kid has some ridiculous power.
At his age. He's 20.
If he wants to come out and make a statement, it's going to happen within the first 3 minutes of this fight.
I do think Malarkey is a little overrated, though. That's just my opinion.
He is, and that was another big part.
And I thought he lost to Michael Johnson.
So both of us going with a moderate dog with Francisco Prado.
Oh, and before we go to the next fight, Prado does have 2 wins in round 2, one by KO, one by sub, but he's been out of round 1, but 8 of his wins are by round 1 finish.
Well, all right. Well, it's good to know at least. So, yeah, both of us going with Prado. I like that. We both have the same picks for the first 5. This isn't okay. We can't change.
Things are going to change eventually.
All right. So next up, we got Clayton Rodriguez and Shannon Ross. Now, a lot of people aren't going to know who Shannon Ross is. Shannon Ross is in his home, or close to it.
Close to home.
And he's actually a relatively well-rounded fighter. The only issue is that he is already 33.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not exactly known, I guess. He did have the Contender Series fight with Vinicius Salvador,
which was a good fight.
I mean,
He
For
lost
as
though.
good as Salvador is, Shannon Ross held his own. So I'll give that to him. He is a pretty decent fighter against another fight. Against someone else, he probably have a better chance. Clayton Rodriguez has a lot going for him. He's got a really, really excellent game. I like the way the kid fights. I like his fight IQ. I like his mental fortitude in the ring. Um, he's one of my favorite plays on the card. Actually, he's very solid. I like him to win. I like him to score well. Probably somewhere between 90 and 110. I like him to finish Ross early.
I kind of hate you because I actually have a star next to his name. I'm not calling him a superstar, but I have a star. I'm like 8,800. I don't necessarily agree with the minus 350, but I thought he should have won that fight with Vergara, even though I did pick Vergara on that card. He slowed down a little bit, but I think it was UFC jitters to an extent. But
Absolutely.
Clayton Rodriguez,
And he did win that fight. That he got so
yeah,
robbed in that fight.
yeah.
That was bullshit.
I think it was because the takedowns of Vergara got a little bit late, but besides that, I think this kid Rodriguez shows why the UFC brought him in. Got excited on him. I'm actually high on the kid. I love his price tag at 8,800. I hope not many people are on him personally, and we can get him under like 23, 22% in the low 20 range. Hopefully, we can get him. But I love this kid this week, and that's an easy pick. I think he's like, don't get me wrong, Ross is a good striker. I know the reason why he got this fight because I think he took it. I think he actually took this fight on short notice. But I'm easily on Rodriguez in this fight. Rodriguez is actually one of my favorite sneaky plays.
All right. Well, that makes 6 for 6. Both of us going with Clayton Rodriguez. All right. Next up, we got Josh Kulibau and Elsik Bagdasarian. Go ahead.
Okay, who's the better finisher? It's Bagdasarian. He has that more power. If anything, he does have 4 wins in the first round under 40 seconds. So he's the one that if he lands clean on Kulibau, he may be able to knock him the hell out. And think about that. At 8,000, if he gets a finish under 1 minute, that's the bonus. What's that, like, what, 100 and
120?
He breaks the slate easily. But I didn't like how he looked his last fight. He still won, but
he was going against a defensive karate striker,
guy, pretty much doing this the
still
whole
beat him.
Yeah, doing this the whole time, but like pretty much dancing around. But he's not going to worry about that. He's not going to have to worry about it with Kulibau. I think Kulibau is more better defensively when it comes to striking, but he does welcome fire exchanges, and that's what got him caught the one fight with Jalen Turner. But that was Jalen Turner. He's a freaking beast, and I'm actually excited for his next fight down the road. But Kulibau, he's a guy that he's going to try to win by points. He's going to be in and out, throw a lot of volume. Statistic wise, they say for DraftKings, the 82 and 8,000 fight is a fight that usually somehow finds its way in the optimal.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on who wins this fight, I think if Bagdasarian wins, it could be by finish. He's going to make the optimal. Depends on how Kulibau fights. Because there's times when Kulibau gets comfy, backing up, throwing his 1-2s, circling. If Kulibau wins, I don't know about by finish. I think I like him better maybe by decision. Maybe slows down Bazarian after round 1. And this is even more of a live bet too. If you like, okay, this might be a live bet. If Bagdasarian looks tired after round 1, if. That's why I said if. I know what me and you're thinking. We're thinking Baghdad finishes in round 1. That's what we're hoping for. But if Bagdasarian looks slow down after round 1, Kulibau is not a bad money line pick after round 1. If he looks,
I think he's a horrible pick. I disagree completely.
If
Kulibau is a trash fighter. I don't care what anybody says.
All I'm saying is for a betting aspect, if he looks gassed, if Baghdad throws everything out in the kitchen sink in round 1 and he looks gassed, Kulibau could use the range and win 2-1 in decision.
Here's why I say I disagree. So when he made his debut, I'm obviously on Belsic. I've been on him since he came into the
UFC. That's a lie. I was on the other guy the first fight.
In the fight against Colin Anglin in his debut, after that first round, he started to get tired. And then he came out in the second round and he had a whole new second wind and his cardio just like went through the roof. I am not worried about his cardio at all. If anybody should be worried about anything, it's Kulibao because he's not going to be able to handle the pressure that's going to be in his face the entire time. And what Kulibao is going to try to do, he's going to try to avoid the shot. He's going to walk in and he's going to walk into a counter. He's then going to try to get a takedown and he's going to fail and get knocked out. So I am all over Melsik.
Look,
He's
I'm
still one
on
of my
I'm on Bazik. I picked the Bazik, but I'm saying if, because I think there's times where Kulibao does leave his hands low a little bit, and if Baghdad gets him against the cage and throws his hands, he's gonna knock someone out. I'm actually, crazy. I did one thing I didn't know until research. I didn't know Melsik was the older fighter until just 20 minutes ago. I'm like, oh shit. But yeah, he's the more dangerous fighter out of the two. If anything for DraftKings, I would definitely prefer the Melsik sign. Because if Kubal's going to win, I think it's going to be by decision, by points. And even at 8,200, I know they say, oh, you find this way to make the optimal. I don't think it makes optimal 8,200 against this kid. But
this fight is currently sitting at a pick'em.
Yep.
Most sites have them at identical -110 odds. I
Yep.
think that will flip by the time Saturday rolls around.
I'm hoping to God that I can get Melsik. Either way, if I'm playing Melsik on any type of bet wise, I'm going to him by knockout. And
Yeah,
I'll easily get plus money on it.
I think he'll move to -130 by the time this rolls around. So I don't think he'll be the dog anymore. But as of right now, he is still technically the dog.
Either way, I'm betting this knockout prop. And I'll get plus money for that.
Both of us going with Melsik Baghdasaryan, and we have still not disagreed on a pick. All right, I hate this fight. Tyson Pedro and Modestas Bukauskas. I hate this fight for so many reasons. I took Pedro. I didn't like it. I do like Bukauskas. I just don't like either one of these fighters in general. Tyson Pedro came back after his 3-year, 4-year hiatus, whatever the hell it was in 2018, and he knocks out Ike Villanueva, aged, old, and done. And then he comes out and knocks out Harry Hunsucker. Well, Harry Hunsucker doesn't belong in the UFC and barely belongs in the amateur ranks. So Tyson Pedro hasn't done anything. Then he flip over to Modestas. Well, he had that fight with Khalil Roundtree where he blew out his knee. That nasty ass kick to the knee. That was just absolutely horrible. You could argue that he won the fight against Michael Oleksiejczuk,
which I thought he did.
He got murdered by Jimmy Crute. So you could argue that since 2020, that when Bukauskas came in, he has fought the better competition. It's hard to say how Pedro is actually going to do against somebody who doesn't suck. So, like I said, I have Pedro. The line is way too big. I won't touch him in DFS. I won't touch him betting. If I'm going to bet at all, it would be Bukauskas because that's where the value is. I guess the biggest thing going for Pedro is he does have some nasty kicks. If he uses them often enough, I mean, it's kind of bullshit because Bukauskas kind of already got killed by a kick, but what you got to do is what you got to do. So I expect Pedro to come out and throw a lot of kicks, but I mean, either one of these guys could win this fight.
You ready? This is where we disagree.
Are you taking Bukauskas?
I'm taking Bukauskas, bro. Look, he's the better striker, fight start on the feet. Pedro doesn't have traditional takedowns. And I'll give it to Bukauskas. He does have good overall takedown defense. But the Crute, he didn't respect Crute too much. He was actually hitting Crute a couple times, and then he came in with his hands down. And I don't care who the fighter is. You leave your hands down by anybody in the fight game, you can get caught. You can get your shit rocked. Boom. Simple. He wasn't knocked out. He was rocked and he got TKO'd, but the Roundtree fight, it was competitive until that freaky ass leg kick. I still get nightmares about that if I think about it. But this is his second stint into the UFC. He just came back, got 2 wins off the regional scene. Showed some improvements, in his cardio, his takedown defense. I think Pedro's overrated, bro.
He is. There's no doubt about it.
Of course. Could he go over there and land an overhand? Of course. His takedowns aren't that good. His wrestling takedowns are not good.
We won't this. I don't think we'll see anything on the mat in this fight.
No. And if you're telling me if it's going to stay pure violence and who's the better striker in a striking match, that's what I go off to when I look at dogs. Either who's the better pure wrestler grappler, or I look at who's the better pure striker. To me, Bukauskas is the better pure striker. I'll pick that 10 out of 10 times, and I'll eat the bullet.
Here's what I worry about is Pedro is the better wrestler of the two. There's no doubt about it. If he
Hmm.
does feel this is what I'm worried about and why I didn't go with Bukowskis. If his corner says, look, we need to get this fight to the mat or you're going to lose a point, lose to, on the
Yep.
cards, that's what's going to happen. And he's going to get Bukowskis down because his Bukowskis doesn't have the world's best takedown defense.
It's improving, but it's not the greatest.
And he's also, they're both 6'3" or whatever, but Bukowskis has some really long legs. All he's going to do is he's going to grab him, he's going to push him up against the cage, and then he's going to take him down with a single or a body lock. So that is probably the biggest reason that I went with Pedro
I don't hate it.
because I think it's going to go to a decision. This fight sucks. I don't think either one of them are going to get knocked out. I think it's going to be a slow, boring slog, and I really don't give a shit who wins.
I don't know if I see a decision on this one because like Pedro does have a 100% finish rate. I give him credit for that. And Dukakis
Again,
does have an 85% finish rate. And 9 out of 13 wins for Dukakis are finished within 2 rounds and under. And same thing with Pedro. Pedro, first round or bust. All his wins are in round one. And his main losses came from OSP in round one when he lost and got finished. And then his other one came to Latifi by decision, which you're losing this to Latifi. That's not the best look. And then his other one was a third round KO of Shogun.
To Shogun.
The legend Shogun. But I just think Pedro's overrated. I know there are people saying, "Oh, he's at home. They want to build him up." If you don't get to the ground, boy, you are going to get pieced up.
It
I'm going up
depends.
with Dawkins.
We've seen Bukowskis be very, very hesitant in the ring.
He can
So
be.
that's why I said it's going to be a decision. I don't see a finish.
Like Dawkins does have 2 decision wins, but 9 out of his 13 wins are by finish within 2 rounds.
I mean, even in his second Cage Warriors fight that he had recently, that still went through in 4 rounds. This is only a 3-round fight.
Yeah, I give him
And
credit because he
like
actually showed, he can still continue with volume and still look fine. I give him credit for that. He showed that okay, after round one or round two, you didn't gas, you still controlled the cage. But yeah, I'm playing the Badalkis at 73.
yep.
If anything, I'm probably gonna play a finish prop of a sort because Pedro usually does tend to slid on after round one. I think and one thing I must call. I know he's gonna throw. I know Badalkis is gonna throw kicks and he's gonna lean it. I think, if you're a pure better kickboxer, one thing you're taught, look down, aim high. He's gonna think a kick's gonna come to his leg, and I think he can get head kicked. And think about it, when people try to aim too much, oh, I'm gonna worry about, overall leg kicks. I'm gonna bend down low. With the kick, he does have good kickboxing. Dawkins. I give him credit for that. He has good kickboxing. And he's a long kickboxer. And what you do when you change your levels? You switch your hips, throw your leg high. Boom. If I get that right, I better get some hella good points if I call by a head kick knockout. But I'm leaning it's going to be some kind of kick knockout. It wouldn't shock me if it's like a body kick or I'm leaning a head kick. I wouldn't shock me if he head kicks Pedro. And I better get bonus points if I get that shit right, by the way. I call
well, I'm going to take away points if you get it severely wrong and it goes to a decision.
I'll take that. But I'm playing. I actually do like the 7,300. If I'm going down low to pay off for other guys, Padalkis, you're going to get a lower ownership because I think people are going to try to chase the Pedro first round finish. But think about it, 100%.
I think both guys will be less than 20% owned.
Hey man, I don't know. People are going to look at that. Oh, someone under 9K that's 100% finish rate. So if they're looking at that, think about it. If he does. So Pedro does win. There's a chance he could get a knockdown, extra points, first round finish. He's going to score over 100 points if he gets a first round finish with a knockdown. So. And especially, let's say if he grabs the back or neck, a little bit of control time, a little few extra points here and there. But
all right, well, definitely split on that one. I'm going with Pedro. Not that I like it, and you're going with Bukowskis.
yep,
I don't really care for the fight at all. But next up, we have our main card, and it starts off with Jimmy Crute and Alonzo Menifield. You still on Menifield?
I'm still on Menifield.
Yeah, I think so too.
And the crazy thing is, I'll say about this: none to get Crute. Does Crute have his ways to win? Yes, of course. But I absolutely hate his striking. And I don't get it. You're so good in one area. That's what I always say about some people. You're so good in one area. You're telling me you can't get a way to get it down to the ground. That always bugs me. Like I'm not calling him, a BJJ just nerd. He's a low end striker, but at least with his low end, he does have power. Clearly, he beat, Budakis, who, I'm picking from last fight. He caught him rushing in with an overhand. I don't see him not. If he doesn't try to clinch up quick with Menafield, and I give Menafield this, he has very good takedown defense. And I'm like, oh shit, okay. But two things could happen in this fight. I'm going Menafield because 10 of his 13 wins are by first round. But Menafield did show against, Ed Herman and previous opponents just recently. If he needs to slow it down, he'll slow it down. He'll save his power. But I think there's a chance he might use his power and still accidentally knock Crute the hell out. I'm sorry, his chin. I don't like his chin. Like he got his TKO'd against Jamal Hill. I don't think Jamal Hill has much power. The only thing about Hill, he's more precise where he lands his shots. I think that's where it does most of the damage. Menafield's pure muscle milk power man, where he throws just pure power and violence. And if he does that against Crute, and Crute leaves his wannabe Ronda Rousey guard hand down, he might get knocked the hell out. But this is where now I'm going with the other side. If I go to Crute, the only two ways Crute wins this fight. Either when Menafield throws heavy, he jumps on the back when they're both dry and tries to grab for a neck, which is very doable. But Menafield, I don't think he's never been subbed. No, he's never been subbed. Or he makes this a boring, piss poor fight, similar-ish to Menafield's fight with Ed Herman. And Crute tries to do the clinch. He tries to win positions. The upside pick is Menafield because if Menafield's going to win, I think he knocks him the hell out. But if Crute's going to win, it's going to be by control against the cage. Maybe he'll get a trip or I'm not. Is there a chance I don't touch this fight? Possibly. Because there might be some other dogs like, okay, if Menafield don't get that round one finish, even at 7,600, what's he going to score? He's not too much volume. He pretty much waits. And then once he pretty much locks in, that's when he starts throwing all pure power. But my pick's Menafield. If you're going to play, I know you want to pick the money line. Okay, if you think it goes decision, plus 150 is not bad. I thought the odds would be closer. I actually prefer Menafield. I thought it was going to be almost a pick 'em. And Crute's 8,600 on DraftKings. No, I'm good. 7,600 on Menafield. That's not bad at all. I have a feeling you might be able to back me up with this one. I have a feeling this fight could be a cash game fight. Someone's going to look at Menafield as a potential pay down at 7,600 for a potential knockout win. And because you're more the cash guy, I'm more the GPP dude. But I think Menafield should win this fight. If I'm going to play him, I'm, of course, going to be cheering for the knockout. But there's always that possibility where Crute can make it dirty, boring. And I don't think
we're going to see a boring fight. I don't think. So Crute has lost 2 in a row. The one to Anthony Smith, he got hurt. So I mean,
I give him credit. He still even took
he wanted to keep fighting, and he was winning that fight. I was all over it.
So was I.
And then Jamal Hill obviously flatlined him. So I mean, I'm on Menafield. I liked Crute at the beginning of the week simply because he's got a lot of ways to win. The problem with him is he has a stupid fight IQ. He makes some dumbass decisions. And if he gets countered, he's going to get countered hard. And Menafield is no slouch to counters. Mm-mm. And mix that with the takedown defense. I mean, he could catch him when he comes in. Yep. I could see Menafield coming with an uppercut right to his damn nose, and it's lights out. So Menafield has all the power in the world. But I mean, you're right. If he doesn't get the knockout and he wins the decision, he likely doesn't score very much. That said, depending on how many dogs win, that could be it. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I do like Menafield a lot in this one. His takedown defense has been solid. If he keeps it going, then he should win this fight. Crute will likely get knocked out if that happens. So that's where I'm at. Sounds like that's where you're at. Both of us going with Menafield.
The one thing I'll say is if we're going to expect violence, Crute 8 wins in round 1 out of his 12 wins. But listen, I'm curious how the fight looks if they get out of round one. But
Yeah.
like Chris, all I know is Cruz never lost a decision. 3-0, but we'll see. But yeah, I'm going Menafield. If I can see what dogs I look around and I can maybe get Menafield in my line, I'll do it. But I'm not trying to have like who knows? This could be a card where you have 3 dogs on your card.
You
Three,
could
four,
have
maybe.
right now you have 5 dogs. You could put them all in the line.
Hey, if you win a lineup with 5 dogs, you're taking that whole tournament.
So all right, both of us going with Menafield. I love this next fight. I think
So
they
do
have
I.
the odds so fucked up. Justin
Oh
Taffa,
yeah.
I'm sorry, but you are not a good fighter. Your last win was the Harry Hunsucker. Once again, he does not belong in the UFC. He barely belongs in the amateur ranks. Justin Taffa has been beaten by Carlos Felipe and Jared Vandera, and Parker Porter is better than both of them. Parker Porter is going to have far more volume. He also has the wrestling advantage. So the only way that Porter loses is if he gets knocked out. And I don't think Taffa has the power to knock out Porter because Porter actually has a pretty decent chin. Now, Porter's last fight, he lost to Jailton Almeida. I think just about everybody's going to lose to Almeida. So we're not going to count that one. The last time he got knocked out would have been Chris Dawkins because he blitzed the shit out of him and he ended up catching him with a knee. So that's that. Porter's going to win this fight. I don't care what anybody says. He is the better fighter. He is my lock on this card. Parker Porter, all day.
I actually hate you because I actually have another star next to his name. But in the case, I actually know one of his good friends who also works at We Want Picks. Me and him were talking about that fight just for a little bit, and I asked him, I'm like, "What do you think about the disrespectful odds?" And he's like, "Tell me one thing Tafa has over Porter." I was like, "Just power."
Oh, I can tell
But
you one thing.
he's a wannabe Tuivasa.
He's got tattoos. That's what he's got over Porter.
Yeah, but he's a wannabe Tuivasa. Think about it. His 2 wins are guys that I don't even think are in the UFC no more. Hunsucker, I don't know. I know he jumped to 205, but I don't know if he's still in the UFC or not.
I don't think so.
And Adams is in PFL, I believe. I want to say, yeah, PFL. His one loss, he got flatlined by Jorgen De Castro off a mean counter, and I was on Jorgen that fight. Thank you very much. He lost to Felipe, who cut, boom, bye, gone, in a pure striking fight, low scoring fight, and everyone was expecting this fight to be knockout, knockout. Thank God I faded it. Vandera outworked you, and I'm sorry, Vandera. I give it to Vandera. He's a guy that will fight anyone. I do have respect for that, but you got outstruck by Vandera. And I hope he doesn't see this saying that he can't strike because I know he can kick my ass. But
He ain't gonna see it.
hey, Vandera looks at a lot of social media stuff from what I heard. But Vandera can kick my ass anytime. But you got your shit worked by Vandera using his range and kicks. Parker Porter is better than every guy I just named who he fought.
Easily.
He's think about this in 2 fights. The first fight was I think he actually broke his striking record twice. One was with that one other slow heavyweight, and then where him and his opponent broke the striking record.
Oh, you talking about the fight with Josh Parisian and then Chase
that was
Sherman?
a hell of a fight. And then very next fight, he broke it again.
Yep.
For a heavyweight, he has volume for days. And with his one loss, I'll give him credit. He took it on very short notice. And the only reason why I know this because his buddy told me he took it on short notice, and then his wife apparently just had a kid. So he was on the couch taking care of all that and said, "Oh, UFC opportunity."
Oh, yeah, that's when he was still overweight, like
Yeah, like
overweight.
over. Yeah, that's his
Yeah.
first fight. That's why he looked like people were like, "Yo, this dude's really fighting." I'm like, he looks like a slob.
Yep,
But
I remember that perfectly because then he came out and I remember I took Josh Parisian in that fight because I was like, okay. I remember how Porter looked in that other fight. He looked like shit. There's no way he wins this, and he came out a completely different person, and he's been that way. So yeah,
yeah,
the disrespect to Parker Porter is just
and
ridiculous.
I've been hearing other people saying, "Oh, Parker Porter, he might just." The only thing I'll say about this, Parker Porter does have 6 first-round losses. He does. Don't get me wrong. Does Tafa have that power where if he does land clean, yeah, I'll give to him. He has power. That's damn near about it. If you want to say, if you told me straight up, if those two wore boxing gloves, who would want just a boxing fight? I still think Parker. He has more volume, more range.
Way more.
He's taller. No, they're the same height. They're both 6 foot. Never mind. But Parker uses his range a lot better.
He's
Only
also
thing Tafa
faster.
has,
Like Parker Porter's fast for heavyweight.
yeah, he's fast for his freaking size. The guy that's almost 260 and he moves like a damn middleweight. But yeah, the only way I see Parker losing this fight is if he gets caught with his hands down and Tafa does his wannabe Tuivasa Mark Hunt bullshit. But
Yep,
yeah,
not happening. Both
no.
of us going with Parker Porter. Love
One
it.
of the and like I said, as you said it, you stole my words. He is one of my favorite dogs. And I'm gonna try to get to him so very much on DraftKings. So
Absolutely. Next fight, we got the UFC veteran Randy Brown against the hot rising star and Jack Della Maddalena.
you go first.
I swear to God, if you are on Brown because you like to do stupid shit like that, Jack Della is going to win this fight. This kid is unbelievably impressive. I have every fight that he has, I am super pumped for because man, he makes them exciting. He is ridiculously fast and he puts on an extreme amount of pressure. I will say there is one path for Randy Brown to win, and that's if this gets to the mat. He's not going to get it there. It's just it's Jack Della's got average takedown defense, but he has shown a really good ability of getting up. He has not been pinned down for very long. I mean, the fight against Amiv, and Amiv is a good grappler. He couldn't even hold him down. So that gives me everything that I need to know. Jack Della, knockout, first round. Goodbye, good night. Go ahead. Let's hear
No,
your
I'm on
stupid
Jack.
shit.
I'm on Jack Della.
Okay.
Look, I'm a Randy Brown guy though. I've always
I
been a
know
Randy
you
Brown
are.
guy, and I give credit. I pick Randy Brown usually when I know he wins. I pick when he wins, and I usually pick when he loses. But people, I hate the line of that fight though. Like I know Jack Della's in his home
Oh, yeah.
country, and this is actually his first legit test because Randy Brown is a test. He's not a fucking bum. So put some respect on Randy Brown's name.
I wrote that.
Randy Brown has 14 UFC fights to Jack Della's 3. And I originally had Della before I even saw the odds. I read them down before the show, and I was like, Della's probably about like a minus like two, like mid twos. I saw a minus 350. I'm like, look, I know I'm picking Della to win, but don't disrespect my boy Randy Brown. Don't.
But here's why. When you go and look at the last four, because so Randy Brown's on a 4-fight win streak. He fought Alex Oliveira, Jared Gooden, Chaos Williams, and Francisco Trinaldo. Now, 3 of them are getting old.
Trinaldo's not even in the UFC no more.
Almost all 4 of them are getting old. All 4 of them, if I were to say, hey, who is JDM going to knock out? You're going to say all 4 of them. 3 of those fights with Brown went to a decision.
Yeah, 3 out of his 4. So he went 4 and 5 in the last 5. 3 went to decision and 1 by sub.
So,
and I hate to say it. You know what that 1 loss is by? Knockout.
Okay.
Like, honestly, there is a fight that I do want to see if Jack Della does get probably by flying colors. And I actually wrote it down. So I think Jack Maladena, what he's going to do is, I think how he catches Randy Brown is against the cage. Brown's going to try to use his upper size. He does have 5 inches on reach. But what I think is going to happen, Della's going to clinch him, push off, and hit him with a mean overhand and potentially knock Brown the hell out. I hope I'm wrong because I love Randy Brown. But I am on Jack Della on this fight. 9,200 is a good price tag. Even if, let's say he doesn't get a finish, which I'm expecting, because Jack Della, within 2 rounds, he has 12 finishes within 2 rounds. I think he does get a finish at some point. Let's say if he can go to decision, Jack Della throws volume for freaking days. I know he's going to have to try to get outside the reach advantage of Brown, but I see him hard. No,
he's got
Brown's
so much
flat-footed. I hate to say Brown is flat-footed. If Brown has more bounce to his foot, then I'll say, but I hate going against my boy Randy Brown, but I'm on Jack Della. I think he gets a knockout. And one fight I want to see, if he knocks out, even win, lose, or I'll say win or decision. I want Jack Della versus Vicente Luque.
They're not going to give him. They won't do that yet though, because they're still. And my guess is it'll be somebody like the Leech, Magny.
Leech has a fight, and Magny, I don't know who Magny's fighting. No, Magny doesn't have
Pereira. It'll be one of them.
I just want to see pure violence. I know maybe down the road it could happen. Maybe it's a fight night main event
I don't think anybody stops this kid until he gets
in the top
into
12.
the top 10. Like Shavkat Rakhmonov, he'll beat him because he's just a freaking beast. The Luke fight would probably be good, but Luke is getting up there in age, and you've
And
seen it in his
his
last few
chin's
fights.
slowly starting to.
I think he'd beat the shit out of Sean Brady. I think he would knock out Jeff Neal. Wonder Boy would go down. I think then you get into the top five, and I do think he would lose to Burns Muhammad. I think he'd lose to the entire top five.
Yeah.
So he's got some work to do, but until that point, I think we are not going to see him lose.
I hope, like I said, I wouldn't. I remember I said on the last card where I picked Kinshita over your boy. But even though I played I played your boy on DraftKings, but I was like, look, that was my least confident pick. I'm not gonna say Jack Della was my least confident pick, but I would not be mad if I saw Randy Brown won. I would
I
not be
would.
mad because I've been on
Yep.
Randy
But
Brown.
let's talk about that Kinoshita pick right now, real quick, because
Okay,
Fugit was 7,100, and I took him to win. Yeah, okay. Thank you.
look, I told you I wasn't confident with that pick though. That was
I
my
know.
least confident, and I told you I had him in my main line,
Yeah,
and I
you're
should have went
welcome.
6-0. I should have won 6-0, but yeah, that's a whole another topic. I should have won 6-0. Zai won that fight. Rewatched it 3 other times. He won that damn fight, but I would have won more money than what I did. But hey, I can't be mad. But yeah, we're both on Jack Della.
All right, yeah, both of us going with Jack Della Maddalena. We have the first of the two title fights next with Yair Rodriguez and Josh Emmett. I'll let you take this one first.
I'll say this right now: nothing against Josh Emmett, nothing against Yair Rodriguez. Neither one. This shouldn't be. This shouldn't be a fucking.
It shouldn't be a title fight.
So I thought. So originally, I didn't even know this was a damn title fight contender until today. Then I'm like, oh, it's only 3 rounds. I'm not touching this freaking fight. I don't give a shit. Then I'm like, no, it's 5 rounds. I'm like, ew, why? And then I heard, oh, how Volk's fighting this card. He's gonna need time off. And the winner, same time frame, could fight probably the end of the year or beginning of the following 2024, maybe. But if I knew Emmett would actually pull like a Frankie Edgar game plan, I'll be more confident with this pick. But
Josh Emmett is the worst top five fighter in all the divisions.
and the crazy thing is, like, I give it to him. He's 9-2 in the UFC. I think I saw something where he's like, what, 6-1 as a dog. But I wish he went back to his wrestling. He has good wrestling. Like, to me, like, I don't. It's gonna be hard to compare him. So I told somebody when I watched Josh Emmett, he looks like a smaller version of what Shane Carlin was. Carlin got in because good wrestling, but insane power. Emmett, good wrestling, good power for his size. I don't think he beat Calvin Cater. I'll say that right now. I know people
He,
say,
he didn't beat Cater. He didn't beat Ige. He
yeah, I don't.
barely beat Burgess.
I think I'll say this. I'm on Yair, but this is a fight. I'll tell you now, there's 2 title fights. I think there's a chance there's a fight. This fight right here, you don't need to touch. I know it's crazy,
Oh,
maybe cash games,
I
but
disagree.
you think on
And
GP you're going to need Yair?
here's why.
Okay,
This is
explain, please.
5 rounds.
5 rounds.
Yair Rodriguez is going to literally piece the shit out of Josh Emmett because Emmett is going to want to try to throw his hooks. Yair is so damn fast. He will literally get 3 strikes in every time Emmett loads up. And it is going to be consistent over and over and over. We're not going to see this hit the fight, this fight hit the mat more than a couple times, if at all. It is going to be 5 rounds of pure violence from Rodriguez. Rodriguez wants that belt. So does Emmett, for that matter. So Emmett is going to be constantly coming forward with that power. He is literally going to load up and throw that hook that he's been throwing in every fight. And that's the only reason that he beat Qatar or Cater, because they gave him the whole power shit on the card, which is bullshit because Cater definitely won that fight. But Yair is literally going to counter and piece him up for 5 rounds, and I guarantee you he will have over 120 strikes and whatever else comes with it.
If he gets a late finish, possibly, who knows? But like I do give the striking to Yair easily. It's not even freaking close. The only thing is, let's say if Emmett decides to hold for a little bit, but I don't think it's gonna last too long. But because like I said, he doesn't use wrestling. If he uses wrestling, then I'm like, okay, I can maybe trust Emmett a little bit because Yair is gonna be the more bouncier in and out. I'm gonna try to go back to watch some Yair to see because like I don't mind his price tag at 8,500. I really don't. But
Mm-mm.
usually, like I said, I like learning some new stuff. Like, if I think I need to go back and rewatch, which from what you're telling me, I probably do, and maybe at 8,500, I could play them. I know the two last fights are going to be like ownership fights. I know people are going to be higher owned on these last two fights coming in,
Yep.
and I think there's a chance that you're going to have to eat the chalk on one of the sides. But I did pick Yair to win, of course. But Yair does have 6 decision wins. He has 6 finishes. He has actually had 6 first round finishes, 3 by TKO, 3 by sub. So I don't see him subbing Emmett by any means. But if anything, he's either going to catch him with a flashy thing similar to what he did to Korean Zombie late, or he's going to win a point decision. And as you said, just rethinking now, he could absolutely light Emmett up like a Christmas tree. But if I'm Emmett, if you want to win this, because look, Emmett's 37.
This
Who
is
knows?
his last chance. He'll be done.
This is his last run. If he loses this fight, he's pretty much going to be in co-main events and or possibly main events for fight nights. And he's probably is he ranked 5th now or 3rd or
He's 5th.
if he loses this fight per se, he might drop from 5 to 6 or 7 depending on how it looks. But I'll go Yair. I'm gonna try to look. Maybe I'll try to get him in my line. As from what you're telling me, I should do it. But yeah, but I'm definitely picking Yair. Emmett, if I don't like his IQ, but I do give him credit when he was down against Michael Johnson. I was at that fight in Philly. He needed a finish, and what the hell did that man do? He ate his Popeye to spinach, and he knocked Johnson the living the hell out bad. But
Yeah, and that's what he's got going for him is that power. But you want to know what really sucks about this fight?
what?
We have two guys, and nothing against either one of them because they're fighting for the belt, but neither one of them should be fighting for the belt because
No, absolutely not.
Cater beat Emmett, and I guarantee you Ortega would have beat Yair had that shoulder
Not
injury not
injury.
happened
Yeah.
because he was keeping him on the ground. So kind of sucks that we're getting what we're getting, but I don't think it's going to matter too much because they're going to get the belt, and then the next title contender will either be Holloway and Arnold. And I can't believe I'm going to say this. This will be coming up anyways, but I am going to take Arnold in that fight, and I think Arnold will have the belt soon. I
Oh
think
my
Arnold
god,
beats
we're in
all
the
three of
same
them.
way too, and I love Holloway. That's crazy
So
because I actually
I'm tired of seeing Max. I think Max needs to be done. He's taking way too much damage, but we'll get
I
to that
think
at
Max
another
needs to
time.
be like Dustin Poirier. I think maybe go up to 55, have exciting fights. You can give him money fights. He deserves a guy that can be a money fight, good striking fight. Put him in a 5 round like fight night card for a good striker. I'll be fine with that. But title contention, Max done. He needs to just unless he gets a little new rebirth at 55. No, he just needs to pick his money fights, which he does deserve. He's worthy of, and just go from there. I'm done seeing him in contention type fights.
All right, so back to this card. Both of us going with Rodriguez for the belt, and now we are on to our main event where I believe we are split,
Oh,
unless you changed Islam Makhachev and Alexander Volkanovski. And I will let you take first.
I gotta think
No,
because
all right. Okay,
the last time
okay.
I switched, last time I actually switched on the gun. Originally, I was on Jamal Hill, and then I
Yep.
was like, "Look, I think Hill has a chance," but I didn't expect Hill to win the
So
way Hill won. But
the majority of people are on Makhachev, and for good reason. Volkanovski is moving up a weight class. He's going from 145 to 155. He does have a 4 inch
like,
height disadvantage,
but he actually
but he has a 1 inch reach advantage. And that's what's going to play key here. And don't get me wrong, Makhachev came out and smacked Oliveira, and he just completely flattened him and then submitted him. You can't do that to Volkanovski. I don't care how tough Makhachev says he is. I don't care if he continues to say that he's going to knock him out. You're not going to knock out Volkanovski. It's
no,
just not going to
I'm not
happen.
expecting.
Volkanovski is probably, aside from like heavyweights, Volkanovski is probably the strongest person in the UFC,
Mm-hmm.
just entirely. He is that strong. So okay, so you can go and look at the RotoWire expert picks. I am the only one with Volkanovski once again. Yeah, it was just like what card was it where it was a dog that won.
I think we
I
both were on that dog that night, though.
I don't remember. I was the only one out of the RotoWire staff picks, and I was the only one that got it right. I feel like this is another one. I'm a huge fan of Volkanovski. I think he's one of the best fighters that the UFC has ever seen. He keeps us on the feet. He wins this fight.
I'll say this.
Just point blank, period.
Once I go up, so I'll say if Volkanovski keeps on my feet, I think he could be able to knock him out.
Oh, I've got that's what I've got written in my article.
Yeah. Like I've even seen
This stays on the feet. Makhachev can say what he wants, but he is going to get knocked out. And for all the fanboys that says, "Oh, Islam's the best," blah 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 blah,
Yeah.
he's gonna smash Volkanovski. No, he's not.
Yeah.
This is either going to be an insanely good fight or Makhachev is going to get knocked out because Volkanovski, he survived that guillotine that was held tight as hell by T. City Ortega.
Which any man would attack or go to sleep.
Absolutely. And I watched it again the other day. I still don't know how he didn't tap. So Makhachev can put him in a triangle all he wants, but Volkanovski's power is going to get him out of it. The only way he gets submitted is if he loses his back. I think that is the only way that Volkanovski gets submitted in this fight. So, and Makhachev does what he says he wants to, and he wants to make this a striking match. Good luck. You're going to get knocked out.
You're going to get knocked out. I hope he doesn't plan on making it a striking fight.
So that's where I'm at. I'm on Volkanovski. I'm one of the only people that is actually on him. I love him. He's my guy, and that's just where I'm at. I'm going Volkanovski.
So I've always been a Volk guy at 145. There's no one at 145 I'm picking against Volk. Not a damn chance. But the only thing I'll say about this, and it caught my eye a little bit, this is where I think Volkov will have his abilities where he will take this fight to the ground. There's no way in a chance of hell I'm seeing him strike for this whole fight. There's no chance. He's gonna get cracked one good time and you realize, oh shit, I need to wrestle. He's gonna wrestle. I think he's gonna be able to get takedowns when he wants, honestly. Because look, Ortega was able to get Volkanovski. That was more later on through the fight. That's when Volkanovski slowed down a little bit.
Twice in that fight.
Yeah, but once he did get dominant position, and we're like, oh shit. But Islam's gonna win. It could be by a dry submission if he gets hold of the back early. He's gonna be the. People think, oh, but Islam's the bigger dude. Look, he's the bigger dude, but he's not gonna be the stronger guy. I'll say that right now.
Not anywhere close.
Volk used to be about over 220, 230
He was a 200-pound rugby player.
And look, he wasn't barely fat. He was still like boom.
Yeah, he was pure muscle, man.
He was a big son of a bitch. But I said this for one fight on the last card. I won't be mad if I get this fight pick wrong. I'm on Makhachev mainly due to I love his wrestling. I love his control. And he is the better Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy out of both. And lately, honestly, I'll say this right now. A lot of people say, oh, Makhachev's not much of a finisher. He's 5-0 his last 5. All 5 by finish. 4 by sub. So, only thing is, I'll say this right now. This can usually, when people say, oh, we'll see how the first fight goes. This is his first legit title defense. And to me, I don't say this fight can be easy. People say, oh, if he actually runs through Volk, then we're just going to realize, okay, maybe Volk belongs either A, stay at 145 and fight some of the other contenders, or B, this fight's competitive. Like I'm hoping to God it is. Maybe some type of trilogy happens. A rematch. Because honestly, no one at really 155 really intrigues me to fun. Because most of them want money fights. Poirier, McGregor, but McGregor's going to fight at 170. He will Chandler.
No, it'd probably be Dariush. Because Dariush, he deserves the title shot. He does.
He does. I like Dariush. But not many people else in that range really. No, you tell me right now, if this was a split decision win on either side, let's say Islam won a split,
they'd have to run it back.
They're gonna run it back, and I'll put any amount of money they will run it back. And then Dariush, like, yo, bro, what the hell?
Yeah, he gets screwed over again.
Oh, but one thing I don't know about this. You know who the backup fighter is for the main event?
Goddamn, I saw who it was.
Oliveira.
Yes.
But I don't see either one having a problem making weight. But
by the way, that pick was I was the only one on Pereira. Everybody else was on Izzy. So.
Oh yeah, I was on Izzy that fight.
I was.
He would have won that fight if he didn't get knocked. But once that fight comes, we're gonna talk about the whole thing, and I got a weird feeling about that fight. But
So that's that. You're going with Makhachev. I'm going with Volkanovski. That gives us a whole two different picks again.
Two, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm on Makhachev. I'm
And
on.
Bukauskas. Everything else is
Wow.
the same.
Wow. Okay.
So that'll be that. I already called my lock. My lock is Parker Porter. Sticking with it. He's also my favorite dog.
Yeah,
But
he's actually one of my favorite dogs too.
we both have 6 dogs on this card.
Yep.
Both of us.
When you said dogs, I'm like, okay, I knew someone's gonna be barking. But my low, like I said, I'm picking him to win. I don't know if I have a favorite tag on him yet, but I am still on Butakis. Better striker in a striking match. I'm picking the better striker. But one thing I know we both agreed on. I think Rodriguez runs through Ross in round one.
That
Like I
can
know
be your
we
hot take.
definitely called
You
it,
want to do
but
your hot you want to call that your hot take? I got a real good hot take for you.
hmm, go with your hot take. I'm gonna look through one thing. I got the thing right here.
You ready for this?
Oh, I
Here's my
am.
hot take.
You,
Volkanovski has more takedowns than Islam.
oh, that'll be in. Wow. Okay, that kind of just fucked with my head a little bit.
Body lock, man. He's gonna do it. He's gonna clinch him. He's gonna body lock him. He's gonna put him on the mat.
No, I'm not gonna call
Watch.
that. I'm not gonna call Jack Della because Jack Della, if he's gonna win, is gonna be a knockout. Um, you're on Parker Porter, which I was gonna be on. Dick. Um, Dawkins. You know what? Yeah, I'm putting Dawkins in my lock. Put Dawkins in my lock. I think he catches Pedro within 2 rounds. And look, I get a little spicy if I get it by knockout for a head kick. I think he's gonna TKO him. But if I get the head kick part right, I better get some kind of sort of prize of a sort. Because I'm thinking because Pedro does guard kicks well. And one thing, if you're a good kickboxing, you see someone that does it, as I said earlier in the video, head low, aim high, boom. That's how you catch someone with a clean head kick.
All right. Well, that wraps up this video for UFC 284. Man, I cannot wait for this card, especially that fight, that last title fight. Volkanovski, man.
Like I said, before we go, that is one fight I would not be mad if I'm wrong. But I know people are gonna think, "Oh, you're playing the safe side," because there's a world that
The
Makhachev could.
majority of people are. I mean,
Yeah,
it's smart. He's
like I
going
said,
up a
he's
division.
arguably one of the best wrestlers all in MMA. So if he's gonna win, it's gonna be by control. But
People are gonna sleep on Volkanovski's wrestling. He is
I'm
still
not.
one of the
I'm
best
not.
wrestlers in the world, which is
I'm
why I
not.
said he's gonna have more takedowns than Islam. That's why I
I'm not.
said
I'm
it.
not sleeping on it, but I think there's gonna be times where he's gonna stuff a few. I'll definitely think he's gonna be like, "Oh, he stuffed a takedown." I'm like,
Well, just watch it happen, man. My hot take. Be ready for it.
okay.
So that'll be that. Thanks for watching. We will catch you guys next week.